the cross, the hook, the uppercut, but then we're gonna add our elbow technique of the month, which is the reverse up elbow, meaning that I'm using this line as a reference point. I basically can step on the line and I turn my elbow over and I go straight up. Okay, same exact thing. What happens with that rear is I'm basically gonna step on that line, turn my elbow up, and I'm gonna go ahead and then hit. I'm using my shoulder to kind of protect my face. And you can see that I'm covering distance as well as I'm hitting it. You can just see from the side angle, boom, and I can take multiple steps to go and hit. Same exact thing happens with that reverse. As I basically take that step, I can take multiple steps to kind of just go straight up the middle. So I'll borrow my partner right over here. Okay, we're just using the line as a reference point. I'm just gonna do the jab. From over here, I'm gonna step and boom, I'm gonna go ahead and hit. Then I go back into my stance, I got that cross. He's gonna have to step back. I step forward and boom, I go ahead and then I hit. And then back into my stance. From there, I got that hook. I dip my shoulder, so if he's actually, looks like he's throwing a cross to my face, I'm just basically slipping, and you can just see how that hook would go. So once I hit with that motion, I step and I hit. Back into my stance, same exact thing. If he throws that jab at me, I kind of slip it, my hook, and I step, and I hit. Back into my stance. From that uppercut, same exact motion, that if he throws that cross, I just roll my shoulders, I hit with that uppercut, step on that line, and I drive my elbow into that person. Back into my stance, same exact thing. If he was throwing that jab to me, kind of slip it, uppercut, I'll step forward and I hit. Now, a couple things, some of the adjustments that we need to make as you guys are doing it. We're not good pad holders, is really what it comes down to. Meaning that a lot of you guys are holding too low. When you guys are holding too low, guess what happens with that elbow? It's just a short movement. But in reality, if we're fighting somebody the same size or taller, we're trying to, let's say, go through the object, we're basically kind of just swinging our elbow naturally as high as it can go, without us losing any type of form with our midsection or our lower body. So as I'm taking this movement, as I step, I go as high as I can. It's just going straight up into the middle, and I just fix my stance. Same exact thing if I'm taking that step. Notice what I'm doing, I'm taking multiple steps. As I go, I'm just swinging my elbow up as high as I can, and you can see where it's ending. It's ending probably about my eye level as I'm hitting. I'm up, boom, it hit. You can just imagine boom, how high I can go. But on Tuesday, as I'm watching a lot of you guys, the adjustments we had to make, because the pad holders were holding it so low, a lot of you guys were just kind of just stopping it right there. Boom. And then you guys were doing this motion, and then you guys try to combine the punch with the elbow like one smooth technique. It should be a full technique with the punch, because imagine that you hit somebody. If I borrow Nick, if I punch Nick's pretty face, I punch him, boom, his head's gonna be moving back. Then I'm gonna have to set myself up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hit. What you guys were doing, if you were to put it into application, let me borrow your face again. You guys were doing this, boom, and then trying to do this real quick. That's what you guys were doing. You're doing short movements versus full movements. And this is when we talk about timing. The thing that sucks is that we're using Thai pads. It's gonna be a little bit different with the distance. Like the depth, I want to say the depth perception, but the distance as you guys are actually hitting. If we're using glove drills, or if we're able to kind of make contact with one another, it'll be much easier, because then we can just use each other's face like what I did with Nick, where I can just basically touch him and he can just put his hand right here and I can just basically clip him. So you guys can get a better accuracy. But we can't do that right now, so we're using the Thai pads. So the adjustment with the Thai pads, you just need to hold it a little bit taller or a little bit higher. Okay, so this needs to be done slow. We're not really impressed with speed or power. It's a smaller group, so I'm able to kind of go around and make the corrections for you guys. So make sure that you guys are using full technique as you guys are moving. Careful, going back into your stance, understand your footwork. Because the first thing I look at is your stance and your footwork, just to find your distance, and then I worry about the elbow technique and the punch technique. As you're doing the motion, okay, I'm doing that jab. To make it easy for you, you're gonna try to connect the stepping motion. It's not, I'm trying to think how it was done with somebody. You're taking that lead foot, you're not trying to move both at the same time, or like try to step, and then try to throw the elbow. So it's gonna be that jab. As I take that step, watch my lead foot, my rear foot is staying still. Okay, this hand is opposite. Look what's happening. From that point, so you can see that after I hit with that jab, I step, I drop my hand, and then I'm basically using this to kind of scoop it up. Same exact thing happens with that rear side. As I'm doing this motion, I got that cross. As I'm basically stepping, look what I'm doing with my hand movement. And then I can step, and then I can slide up with that rear. Okay, does that make sense? Because a lot of you guys are doing too many steps, or you're finishing the step where you're doing the jab. I'm trying to think, jab, step, step, and then you guys are trying to do this, and then you guys are getting stuck. Try to use natural body motion. Okay, I know some of you guys have a bad side, or just right here, I hit, or I basically hit, step, and then look what's happening. I'm loading it up, and then I'm using my motion to kind of hit. Same exact thing with that rear. I'm basically hitting, and I hit, boom, and then I hit. Okay, because a lot of you guys are basically stepping in, and then you guys are just using your arm motion, but you should be using your lower body to kind of throw it. So same exact thing when we throw those elbows. Remember we told you guys, interlace your fingers and just kind of just move. Okay, you're just moving your hips, and it's just natural motion. Okay, so hopefully that will fix some of you guys. All right, so you guys are gonna switch up the pads, and then the other side's gonna go. 2 cups on 2, 1, 2.